Hey guys, sorry about the late notice and everything else. I've only just basically walked in the door at 5 minutes past. What a day! What a crazy day getting to and from work. Of course, we've got storm damage everywhere. I should have driven down and I never. I'll talk about it in a minute. Was a good day. Good luck with the internet. I hope it works. Stuart, g'day. Mark, hello. It's kind of a bit of a last minute thing. I just posted, sort of basically uploaded it, or rescheduled it just then, like 2 minutes ago, and shared the link a bit, but it's probably pretty hard work getting James B in the shed shop. Good day. Yeah, I got here, but what a day. I started out at about 7 and realised I never had enough fuel in the car to really get to work, which was a bit of a problem. But of course, pay wasn't in the bank yet this week either. So no salary, no petrol, no diesel. So I jumped on the train, and of course the trains are out of action because it's a couple of reasons. One is that Helensvale and Tamborine and Scenic Rim had a pretty horrific storm last night, and no one had any electricity or telephone or traffic lights or train network or anything else. So there was a charter bus to do it, which was quite comfortable, and that was a good way to get to work. And I was at work in double quick time from Bethania, so that was pretty good. But I did a full day's work, and a pretty big day's work, and then coming home, there's still no trains or no anything else, so I jumped on a charter bus again, and of course it's got to stop at every station, and that makes a long trip because none of them are straight on the motorway. And I got to Beenleigh by about 7 o'clock, and the next train was about 20 past 7. And I jumped in the car and then thought, oh crap, I should get some fuel and probably something to eat because I haven't had anything to eat all day. So I got a foot-long sub, which waiting for me when I finish here. It's going to be amazing. And hey, Darren. And yeah, so that's what happened. And I pulled it up in the driveway about 5 past, so I scheduled it for 10 minutes late, and I should have done it really on the train, but my phone was a bit flat because my cable at work's not working, and I'm not really very keen on the whole, I don't know, I think I'm going to ditch Vodafone and go to Telstra because it works at Dan's and nothing else does. So that's where we're at with that, and is comparable to what I was paying, and I don't know, but that's a job for tomorrow. Anyway, made it home, which was excellent. Stinking hot day. We had a stinking hot day too, but there's a storm brewing out there again. There's going to be another storm. We've had 4 in a row. This one's going to knock us around again. I guess it mightn't be too much, but it probably will. So we've got fuel in the car, and I'm going to go to drive to work tomorrow because it's much easier this time of year because there's no traffic or anything much, or less traffic or anything much. And I should have done that this morning, but anyway, that's how we go. What's everyone up to? What exciting things are happening? With me, not very much. I was going to sort of just Still 26 degrees, probably still 26 here too. I've just come in this little room and turned the AC on for a minute because it's a bit warm. Brendan, g'day. Engine's looking nice, man. Really nice. Cab's looking good. I didn't realise it was a cast aluminium cab. It looks fantastic. Stuart ate too much Christmas Day. I didn't eat much Christmas Day. I sort of had a pretty light Christmas and I think I lost 5 kilo, which is excellent, but I'll stack it back on again, I guess. So yeah, up to 6. I was going to wait for a few more people, and sorry about the short notice, guys. I really appreciate you tuning in, but I don't think I have today's model engineer, page 87. You should check that out though if you see the newsstands in the UK. I would expect it's going to be about mid-January end of January before we see it here in Australia. But we'll give it a bit of a we'll have a look at a live stream when it comes. Don't think I've got it. I've got the latest. I don't know what I've got. I thought I had. I don't think I've got a Christmas one yet. Don't know. We'll have a look. I know I picked a couple up at the newsagent today. That sounds like a good thing, Warren. Was it? That sounds like you sound like you're taking on the whole country thing very well. You're late en route, James. What are you getting? Come on, spill. More information. Another Unimat. Oh gosh. So that's sort of what's happening. Got up to 7 there for a minute and someone dropped out. Wonder leaving milling configuration. They're not a bad little machine, but like all universal machines, they're not quite good at one thing in particular. Team Biscuits on Discord, who's a big time contributor, has finished a steam engine, a little vertical boiler engine that he's been working on for a while. Had videos of it running on Discord today. Pretty happy about that. It looks fantastic. If he watches this, it's got a wobbly flywheel, but only because I want to be first to say it. And that's the tricky thing with just about any engine you build. It's a fairly interesting operation. I don't think this one over here is going to have wobbly flywheels, but honestly, I've spent a lot of time getting them right. James P, yeah, come across the Discord. It's pretty good meeting place. A lot of unsavoury types hanging around over there, but we fit right in, so you should be good. I'll talk you through it if you drop us a message. So this one, haven't even looked at it this week. Like, seriously, I had 3 days off. I could have done all sorts of things in the workshop. I didn't. Really, my mate Adam Carmichael in Sydney has had a little bit of time off, a little bit of time to himself, time to do things. And we've been talking for years, I think. Years about a tacho and a sort of a union multi-purpose tacho counter for the Launch. And it's taken 10 years or 15 years maybe we've been talking about it to actually to eventuate itself into a couple of custom-made PCB boards in in China, and some components and some software and some actual patterns for casting and some sort of a physical sort of a thing. But we'll have a look at that in a minute. So I spent the weekend, I don't know, learning CAD basically. Some fairly, fridge is late, that's typical. Spent a bit of time in onshape.com, which is a fairly fantastic free software package for average users, or a more expensive software package for people who want actual like secure content and stuff. I find it's excellent. It's intuitive, and I guess I've been learning it for a while, so I'm sort of on top of it. But it is cloud-based, but everything's cloud-based now, and so I don't like one of my secret designs on the cloud, but honestly, it goes both ways. Your stuff's on the cloud. It's fun sometimes to sit down for half a day and go through their website and browse what other people are doing and what they're making, and getting some ideas too. So that's kind of nice, and it's very nice to have other people's drawings to look at if you sign in, and there's a lot to be learnt from that sort of situation. So I kind of like Onshape, and I learnt to animate gear trains. So I got my little gearbox all. Yeah, the government might steal it. That's kind of the thing. And if you're Stefan Godswinter, maybe that's important, and it probably is. But to my mind, anything I do, hey, look, if you want to make one, go for it. Plans are there. Love to see it. Make one before I do, because I've only drawn it up, and give me some feedback on how it actually works and what we can improve, and before I make one. That's an excellent solution. So this is what I ended up with. Right. There's one of the things I ended up with this weekend. Right. It's a 3D print. It's not a terrible 3D print. In fact, it's quite a good 3D print. There's quite a lot of plastic bond in it. It's now red because it was... Look, I cheaped out on the supports. I printed it this way up. I cheaped out on the supports in here. And we've got a bit of sag through this curve here. Try and focus this up a bit. It's a bit dark. Hey, Paul. Yeah, we'll get some light over here, hey? So there was a bit of sag through here, and I've actually fixed this and run a bit of filler in it, and a bit round here. I've got it all nice. I've actually put some... Everyone says it looks like a well-worn helmet for a cat, but I'm not sure it's the finished product at all. This has got the machining marks in it. I'm going to... What I've done is to actually cast it. I've made some pieces that push in here, and I'll just super glue them in place and run a bit of filler around them, rather than print another one, because this is about an 8-hour print, something like that. And that'll fill up those holes so that they cast nicely and give us some machining allowance. I'll make some little pads to go on here off the drawing and just print them and stick them on too, or whatever it takes. And that way we've got some machining allowance. I've already put a bit in here that we never had in the original print. You see there, I've made a printer piece and put in here with a bit of taper in it and filled that. And probably I'll put something on the outside here before we go too much further. Hey Peter, and hey Nigel, g'day. So that's what we got. It's not a bad thing. It's got it's a bit difficult to see where they actually come from in CAD. But what it is basically a sketch like this, right? Around this way. This piece is just a sketch with a spline curve over the points of the pulley and a little bit of clearance. And then that's revolved into a cylinder. And then we're marked out, I think it's about 90 degrees here and here, and got rid of the rest. And then this piece was turned into a shell that thickness. Right, that's how that was made up. Then this is basically just a tapered or a box with a little bit of draft on it and a fillet around it. That's pretty straightforward. This here, basically these are put in afterwards, and then this sketch was revolved around the outside again in the opposite to remove all the noise off the outside, all these pieces here, and the same on the inside. So there's a bit of work in it, but Journeyman Randy, good day. But that's what we ended up with. Now, do you want to see where it goes? I'm learning this CAD thing. I'm reasonably fluent. So we're going to make two little sheet metal brackets here. I've printed these up just for comparison. They look a bit ugly, but I wanted to sort of see what we can do, or whether we can actually put the gussets we want to put in the back here and all that sort of stuff. And these are just going to be folded up in sheet metal. More cardboard boxes, Stuart. This is just going to be a sheet metal piece, or a sheet brass piece, or a sheet aluminium piece that we're going to blacken, or whatever it's going to end up. Something that we can finish nice, because this is the weak point of the design, really, as far as aesthetics. And then I'm going to put a fold down tab on this side, right along here, with a couple of holes in it for the sensor for the tacho. And that'll turn into a gusset, and then we just put a spot with a TIG or whatever, spot weld, or we can silver solder them, or whatever we do, on the corner there for a bit of stiffening, and then it's going to have a hole in it. These need to be a bit longer because this is touching here and we can't get a bolt in the back. But something like this is what it's going to be. Try and match this curve around here, and fold a piece down the outside here so that we can screw the sensor on here, and the sensor will work on this drum here on the backlash bearing, and we'll put a disc over the top of that. So that's what's happening. This goes here, right? Now, just like that. That's a pretty nice guard for that. I really like that. Smart, it's neat. It's got clearance all the way around. Looks like it's factory. It's pretty smart. Don't mind that. And it's got, fits nicely around the bottom. Fits nicely around the top. Fits there nicely. And it looks the part, and you can't see any exposed screws, all that sort of stuff. So pretty happy with that. New belt, Stuart, is fantastic. I'm actually in love with this stuff. I'm going to put new belt over here as well, as time permits. If we order from that supplier in the next week or so, I'll probably get another, we need another 6 meters or something to do the crossover belts on this side and get all that up and running. If I do that, right, I'm going to need to put a guard on the bottom here too, but we haven't thought about that yet. Right, so I've done this in colour code so you can see how this sort of works. We're tossing around ideas here. but this sort of goes on here like this, right? Up there. Probably something like that. It's all going to be nice green. Give me a second, guys. I'll just move this light out here so you can actually see. Right. Wants to be picked up a little bit there and down on that side. It wants to fit. But there's probably enough room on there for the spline shaft to go underneath. Everything looks like it's probably going to work. Those buttons are fairly ergonomic, and there'll be an 8-digit display on there, I believe. So at this point, the wires will go through the back and across to the sensor on top there. And it's a nice, neat, clean, tidy looking job. I wanted some functions on this that most tachos don't have, and Adam's working on that. One is that I wanted a revolution counter, so you can reset it and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for things like spring winding, because that would be a very, very useful sort of a thing to have. Now it does stick out because there's two boards stacked up in there. It does stick out quite a bit there, but I don't think it's out of place at all. It looks like it's probably meant to be honest. It's pretty smart and pretty neat, I think. Yeah, it needs to be painted Lorch green, and I've left a raised piece around the edge there on each side, top and bottom, and we can polish that in aluminium, like clean the paint off that and mask it or whatever, and polish it out, and then we've got like a metal ring top and bottom that's not going to get scratched by the belt, and it's going to look the part. So that's what we're going to do. That's the thoughts behind that. Now, come back over here in the dark. I need another one of these lights or something. I've got another one of these lights. It just never ever set it up. Probably should. So, that's where we're at. Now, there's two boards and they're going to fit, basically. They're going to bolt in this piece, right? They'll put some tabs, if I cast one of these, this piece, right? Put some tabs in the corners to bolt the boards to with nylon bolts, and that'll sit on there. Now this piece here will screw together, whether we probably will put, I don't know, it's got to have a USB plug or something in the corner here or in the end, I'm not sure about that, but probably we'll put either some bolts and screws in the corners, probably hold these two bits together. I'm going to make, I don't know, some industrial plastic or some aluminium or some Cerakote aluminium or some brass buttons or something to put on there. I'd really like a sort of PEK plastic sort of cream on that. I don't know whether I print them in ABS or whether we print them in nylon, whatever will give us good surface finish, or we make them out of solid, or we buy a length of industrial plastic and do them like that, or we make them out of aluminium and get them anodized or coated in some way, or we do them in like in a hollow steel and blue them. I don't know if I like that much. I really, really don't want black buttons on it, but we'll do something like that. I believe there's another row of holes or lights along this edge too for sensors or indicators or something. I don't know. I'm not going to make these bits until we get the board. So look, if I can save 5mm this way across here, I will. I'd really like to. So when the boards come, we'll make one of these that we can bolt it in and test fit everything, and then we'll cast one in aluminium and bolt those two together. So all these pieces are separate, so that if you want to work on it or you need to work on it, you can slip it apart. And then I was thinking to put a couple of steel clips across here, like a wire clip around the end, clip it in place like old-fashioned like an old 6-volt vintage car regulator, that sort of style thing, with a hole here and a hole here, and a spring wire clip to go in each hole on each side, clip over the top and swing out of the way. So you clip it over, and lift this off. And that'll look the part, it'll look fantastic. It'll look like it's made in the 50s or 60s, except for the electronic, like the readout. But we should end up with something that actually looks like it's meant to be, rather than a 3D printed box banged on a frame somewhere, which looks ugly with wires hanging everywhere. So that's the thought behind that. If we can think of a better way of putting this together, I can't really I was going to put a screw here and here, and then I realised that there's something coming out this side. I think it's a programming plug or something. Whether we actually make that board hinged in there, I don't like that much, because the buttons have got to work against it. What we'll probably do is make like a top hat section button with a knob sticking out the back of the flat, so it pushes against there, and then some sort of a spring clip, or separate spring clips, or a little brass clip or something across here. Probably, honestly, drill a row of holes in the bottom there and run a spring clip, a Y-shaped spring clip over here, and just put a bolt in it, hold it in place, or a screw, so that those buttons are retained and they're a bit springy, so they work in and out. I don't know if I've explained that particularly well. I was thinking I could probably make something 3D printed that would work and do the job and give them a bit of flex, or even a bit of insertion rubber screwed across there. But I think if you have something that's like all together, that when you push one in, you're going to push the rest in, and that's going to be a bit counterproductive. So I think we're just going to drill 2 matching holes under here. We're going to run a little C-section spring around there and put a screw in this side, something like that. And that way each one of them is serviceable. It's spring, it's going to last, it's durable, it's tactile, it's going to work. And not only that, this is a problem I find increasingly with electronic devices that I pull apart and put back together in my daily life, which is a daily occurrence. There's probably 10 of them a day. Is that you put all the bits in this half and you put all the bits in this half, and when you put them together, the bits either fall out of that half or they fall out of this half, and you can't line them up. So that's a very common electronics mistake. So I really want everything retained in here, so that when we put this on here and screw it in place, that it's going to work. And that should be fantastic. And then if we run a wire through the back there, we can just put this on place and clip, job's done. And I think that's going to look like a really nice addition to a lathe that the last or the latest bits of it were made in the 1960s. It's going to look pretty fantastic. So that's what I did this weekend. I'm still... Hey, Chirp. Big thank to Chirp, because while I've been using a little bit of this stuff, Chirp is a gift a few years ago has been out today. Thanks, Chirp, for this. There's a lifetime supply and 2 tins of this. And I really appreciate that. It's good stuff. If you live in America and you can get this stuff, that's fantastic. I brought it back or posted it back or something. Anyway, it's good stuff. Anyway, we're sort of down to the level of using that a bit and cleaning this up. It's still got a little bit of a hollow spot across there, and you can see it under the light through there, but we'll get it. And that's where we're at. I think if we use spring clips on this, that's probably going to need an alignment down or pin in the corner here and here. So just a short 3mm pin just to clip that in place, sit it down, so that when you clip that up, it all sits together. Yeah. That's what you need. So it's coming together, I think. I just wanted to CAD this up, get it somewhere near, and then when the electronics land, I might, if I like this, have one of these cast and machine ready to go, and then we can build all these bits on it. Hey David, good to see you. And see how it goes. Anyway, that's the thoughts behind that, and that's the sort of, for those who come in late, is Walker for the Goes to Walks. I guess that's an Australian. I guess you've got to be Australian to understand what the Phantom is. But 400 years ago, etc. This nearly was sitting there before, but I don't think it will now, because I've done a little bit of modification on it. But that's where that's going to be, and that's going to look pretty good, I think. Be fairly happy with that. And in Launch Green with aluminium trim or a polished trim around the rim around it. I think that's going to look the part. So, overkill completely, like totally. But it's worth doing properly. So, and we could leave this guard off here, or we could just use this guard without the big square bit sticking out, which I had always planned, and put the taco wires down here, or put a box on here, or a box over there on the wall, or a box here on the front where it's going to fill up with swarf, etc, etc, etc. Run wires down through here and put a hole in the bench and put them underneath, etc. Not a big fan of running wires down past this pulley and out here. This will basically, it's just got a little sensor, which I believe is 3/4 by 1.5 inches or something, with 2 holes, mounting holes, just on here. Probably needs to be in a box so it doesn't drip oil everywhere, all over it. And probably even just a bit of reflective tape around here or something. A mark on it. And the wire's just got to run out here and in a hole here, which comes through the back of the box. Not very much to it. So, that's where we're at. This little gearbox on here hasn't really progressed any. I believe it's optical. Darren, I believe it's optical. But there were several things that I really wanted to do with this counter, or this taco. I mean, a taco's nice, but I sort of know how fast this thing runs, and I've got it worked out. And if I really wanted to, I've got a VFD over there. I could work it. I could calculate it into, and it would tell me. But what would be fantastic is to have something that will count turns for spring winding. That would be very useful, and I contemplated putting a counter on here, but it's not really particularly good, because you can't really reset it, so you've got to wind it back to 0 all the time. It's always, all the counters I could find always seem to start at 0 and wind both ways. But this fix that so that we can do that. That's a really smart thing in conjunction with this. And I was having it on here doesn't really fix your problem. It only gives you you've got to calculate it out. So on the spindle, that sorts that problem. It would also be very nice to be able to there are other reasons anyway. I can't think of any at the moment, but I did have a bit of a list of things I wanted to do, and I think this is going to do all of that. And that could be quite sweet. So, that's where we're at. The gearbox hasn't progressed any. It's like I did finish the CAD model and sort of get everything a little bit annotated, and I got the animation working and all that sort of stuff, which isn't particularly functional, but it's fun to do. And most of the metal parts are made. I haven't got the bushes and I haven't got the body. Joe promised me the body. If it doesn't happen, I'll just do it with the manual mill. So that's where we're at. Finished body that's it there. Something like that on the back and something like that on the front. It's fairly straightforward milling job, really. You got 3 holes there, all in a straight line, and these ones are 0.5 millimetre, I think, something like that. Need to find some screws like this. These are sort of Phillister head. They're not really ideal. This one I think I just found. It's out of a metal plane or out of a wood plane or something like that. You can get a low profile Allen key head, which would be very nice, but finding them in Australia is almost impossible. You need something with a 4 millimetre head. I think that's probably 1/4 inch. Anyway, so these 2 mounting holes here. Another job I've got to do, which I've been putting off because Joe's in there making a spindle holder for surface grinder that he's rebuilding. And this week we've only got 1 PowerPoint, so I haven't been on the mill. But this needs to, I'll turn this around so we've got light again, probably. This has got 1 hole here. It needs another hole here, exactly opposite. So we need to pull this apart and set it up. If I do that, I probably should buckle down and put a slot in here for the power feed dropout. Yes, I'll make them. It's easy. I hear you, Chirpy. But I just thought I'd buy them off the shelf. Impossible to happen. We don't have a McMaster car, so. This isn't the final job on this, by the way. These buttons might end up square or round or whatever. Don't know. Still thinking about it. And I'm not sure how many there is and what diameter they are and how we were spacing or anything. I've just done that as sort of a proof of concept. I know that the slot for the readout's that big. And I don't really know how the spring clip pieces actually work. But we're working on that. So I've got to set this up and draw this hole. While we're doing it, we've got to put it while it's apart. We really need to put this slot in here, which is only about, I reckon, 6 mil wide and 2 millimeters deep through there. That's another job. This needs to come apart then. This is another reason I put this off. This needs to come apart because if we put a ring on this, it's got to go on over the top. So it's got to go on the end of the spindle. To my mind, that's not going to work because you've got to be able to do this up after that ring's on top of it. So it's a bit of an issue. Don't know about that. If I pull this apart, we have a sheared pin in here that drives the collets under this gear, under this pulley. That needs fixing again. I fixed it once and I didn't fix it particularly well. So that needs doing as well. There we go. So I'm sort of thinking if I pull this apart, I should rub this down and put a clean coat of paint on it. This balloons escalates. So we get some of these attachments ready to go on, and then we can pull this apart and fix this, and we can pull this apart and fix this, and hopefully, because it's nearly 20 years since this lathe was painted and restored, and it wouldn't hurt to have a bit of a clean up. But these brackets need to be finished in a manner that looks sympathetic, and whether I make them up out of aluminium sheet and anodise them, or whether we get them cerakoted. If we're going to do the buttons, we might as well do the lot. Or whether we get like whether we do them in brass and polish them, which might look terrible either, I don't know. Or whether we do them in like steel and blacken them or paint them. I've got a bit of gal steel there that I was sort of going to make something up to I was going to mark something out and cut it out, but never happened because I'm really not sure what's happening with this sensor. So that hasn't happened. That's the thing. We need good solid brackets. We're going to run basically like a gusset down here along this side with bolt holes in it, and then oh, by the way, these are back to front. Interesting. I just realised I put these on back to front. This square side is going to be on this side, and the tapered side is going to be on this side. Fold this down over the top of that, so we've got a gasket. We can probably nearly put a gasket all the way down there, so they should be pretty solid. And we'll continue it along here and put two. And then when we fold this down, all I'm going to do, or down to here anyway, is put a tack on the corner and clean that up. So, Maddie, if you're out there, I hope you're doing all right. That's James P. That's excellent. We all think about him. I hope he's doing all right. So I think these brackets, Chirpy, to answer your question, are going to be pretty solid. I don't see any other way except attach them under the oilers here. I can't see any other way of putting this actually on here so that it's inobtrusive and it actually works. I had thought to put something with two screws here and here and a bracket up around here, but I think it's going to rattle. So this is probably the best and the tidiest. We lose a little bit of this nice shape here, but we're covering all this up anyway. So you might not see it, or you won't miss it probably. That's where we're at. So there we go, guys. That's what I did this weekend. That was Christmas weekend. And I'm still tossing up how all this goes together, and we won't really know until the electronic boards turn up. And when we've got all these bits, we can make all these bits and make them so that it's all nice and compact and excellent. Probably. And put a clean coat of paint on this and a clean coat of paint on the headstock and probably the bed and the tailstock. And anyway, Chirpy, go to bed. I don't really care about drilling into the casting. It's not really a problem. However, I don't believe that just something sticking up here without being attached to this, something sticking up here to the centre to hold this on is going to be good enough, because it's going to do this, like Chirp says. So I think we'll live with this over the top, which will be nice and solid and strong. You know, that should be durable and good. Can't really put anything into the end here because this end here needs to be clean, because some other accessories that are down the list a few years will require this surface to be nice. And this accessory here needs to clamp up against this surface, so we can't put anything in there either. So there we go. Anyway, that's the way this is going to work. You've all probably seen it on Instagram or etc. But I think that'll look quite smart. Should look like it's probably part of the lathe. Fridge. Consult the ruler. That's the only advice that I can actually offer in this situation. I don't have an answer. I'm a bit lost for words on that, because you need more shit and more projects. No, I didn't think you did. I did for a minute think that I think that's where you went wrong. Anyway, as you might have told everyone, we have had this conversation already tonight about stuff. Anyway, and it wasn't about a knucklehead engine. So that's a bit tragic. So then you need to fix this to this and get that sorted. I think I'm looking at this abysmal contraption, which I don't really like. It was made on a budget, and probably anything I buy will be on a budget, but there's some very nice ones available with no backlash and all that sort of stuff that we may integrate between this. Now we know what we need and what works and what doesn't, and where we can improve it. Anyway, the only thing left to work out on this is the knockout for the power feed, and we're going to put a slot through here. I reckon it's only going to be like, this is about 3 mil down here, so I think we're just going to clean this up down to about 2.9 or whatever that is. If it's 3 mil, so it cleans up with this surface, so that whatever it is will slide through there all the way. We're going to put a clamp on it of some sort, and probably just a little fork on there or a pad on the end to operate, and push pad to operate the piece off the end. At this point, that's all we're going to do. But it would be very, very nice to have some sort of vernier or adjustment or something on here, and I still haven't worked that out. Anyway, it's your fault, James. It's your fault. So I've worked that out enough to know that I can make something that works, that we can build on, which is excellent, without compromising this piece and without it being a mechanical failure where it was in here. See, the problem with it in here is that, one, we're too close to the gearbox on the tacho, and two, we're too close to the chuck. So out here, we fixed that problem. Another problem we fixed is that we can put something in a direct line here, and we can push it out without having too much flex in it or offset. So let's fix that. Look, honestly, go and get it shot blasted and then get someone, take it down to the porting guy and get him to polish it and make 4 stainless steel legs about that tall, and put one on each corner, and get a bit of round glass and sit on top and make a coffee table. That's probably the best option. That's what I would do with a knucklehead engine, and it would be nice. That's what I would do. Right? I know you're hankering secretly in your heart after a sidecar motorbike. I would not suggest that that's a starting point for that. But if the thought process led that way, I would support you. That's where we're going with that. Question about the knucklehead engine. Does it go? There you go. Throwing that out there. Does it run? Yeah. You ride a bike with a chair, you're really... It's a different sort of thing. Yeah, no, it's a coffee table job. Sold that then. That's good. Sidecars are expensive. But anyway. Hey, James, look, move to Australia and you'll fit right in with us. Fridge is a bad influence. See, I'm not far behind, but we do all right. So, that's exactly right. It's an expensive way to crash into an AMCO railing. That's exactly right. That's the bit that sort of stops me. Anyway, driving on a razor blade. Driving on a razor blade and forgetting to take 1 foot off the road. That's what riding a sidecar bike's like. Easy way to come unstuck on all levels, to be honest. And honestly, I think you want a good long stroke engine, and probably, I mean, a V-twin's nice, but a good long stroke slow V-twin, probably maximum of about 750cc for a sidecar. I think any more than that's getting a bit stupid to control. If you run into trouble or you're cornering a bit quick on the left hand side, anything bigger than that you're going to come in unstuck with. Anyway, I sort of think you want a matchless or a Norton twin or something. That's what you want if you're going to build a sidecar engine, a sidecar bike. Even a BMW, like a R500, something like that. I'm showing my age. Anyway, that's what we're doing. I'm not buying a motorbike. That's one thing I'm not doing. I'm pretty well set in that. Janep, can you rearrange those letters so they mean something? Sorry. While I'm doing all that, don't know. I guess I just make something that goes around this foot here because it's too close to this hole. And if I put a guard around here, right? Yeah, no, not in a Russian bike. Anyway, don't buy another motorbike. I think that goes for anyone. Don't buy a second motorbike. This knife, by the way, if you can pin him down and he's got a free moment and he's feeling like it, this is a Bill Baggins knife. Pretty nice. Check out his channel. He's not here today, but pretty nice gear. This is probably the most useful tool in my shop, to be honest. Could do with a clean, but it's something I use every day. For cleaning, this is something I designed for cleaning up cleaning up 3D prints, and I really like it. It basically is a glorified box screw cutter. Anyway, apart from that, there's no engine, like there's no full-size 12-inch scale steam engine progress at all. Bit slack, haven't done anything. Haven't really done anything. Haven't done anything to these lamps. Yeah, big crap. I was going to sit down and machine all these, but I got all the lathe nice and clean and started messing around with that and never got back to it. So these 3 oil covers for one of Dan's engines. That's something I'll get back to. He's having a steam weekend this weekend. I think they're going to steam up something. He's probably going to steam up something every day this week, but yeah, anyone's in northern New South Wales and wants a weekend with a steam engine, drop us a line or drop him a line at Dan's shed. or get in touch, because we'd be very happy to have you along. I'm not sure I'm going to make it, because by the time I get through this weekend, I really won't feel like running to next weekend. Yeah, right. Next weekend might be doable. We will talk about it. Scrub that. Might actually make it. Marshall needs a run. Absolutely, the Marshall needs a run. 1.5 bottles of port's not between how many people? Anyway, that's it. Just you. That's all right. The CNC's running cycles on this. We'll have a bit of a look at that one weekend, one live stream, and what Joe's making as far as a surface grinder spindle carrier for the Jones and Shipman. It's looking fairly tidy. Should be pretty happy with that. But it's a fair bit of work and it's a learning curve for all of us. We'll see how we go. Another job that I need to do is find some square bar and make some of these up. I need to get in and make a heap of them and make some progress on that. If I do come down to the steam day, we're probably going to throw this cylinder head on the fire and try and free it up if I can get to that point. Anyway, that's what I'd like to do. Anyway, don't know if I've got much else to run, or to run my mouth on anyway, or to talk about, or to catch up on. Really appreciate everyone who's posted videos and content on social media of some sort. That's a pretty noble thing to do, whether it's just pictures out and about, or what you're doing, or what's interesting, or what you're interested in. Make a post. Don't post some meme about. I'm not targeting anyone, but don't post some meme about how different or how much better than you are than everyone else, and how. Don't post that sort of crap on social media. It only brings you down to their level. It's a picture of what you're going to do or what you're going to make, or you won't feel any better if you never make it. But it's like this job here. This ever going to be finished? No idea. Not really going to make promises. This engine here ever going to be finished? No idea. Not going to make promises on that. These lamps for the rollover are going to be finished? Probably, but I don't know when. This engine ever going to be finished? I'd like to think so, but no idea when. Yeah, really, James is one of the guys who posts some really good stuff on Facebook. Always nice to see that stuff in your feed. Fridge usually posts steam engine stuff. It's good fun. There are guys mates I've got on Facebook and Instagram and even YouTube who post stuff, even shorts. I mean, I know we all hate shorts, but seriously, once you look, it'd be nice to have some decent content, and also post on Discord. Now, jump on Discord and post. Let us know what you're doing. There's a bit more of a refined audience there, so if it's really a pipe dream, we won't probably judge you. We'll just goad you until you actually start it. There we go. Little pot there full of water putty. Pretty good stuff. Big fan of that as a filler. Anyway, I think I'm going to call it. We're nearly up to an hour. I've got a Subway sandwich waiting there that I really can't wait to get into. I'm feeling a bit more awake than I was at 5, 6 o'clock or something when I left work. And I'm glad to be home and know what to do tomorrow to make everything work. It's not just the trains were messed up, not just because of the storms down on the Gold Coast, but also because the Cross River Rail project tunnel is actually under construction, which comes from offshoots at somewhere this side of the city and ends up the other side of the city and shortcuts a bit. Anyway, yeah, best for 2024. All those projects that are been sitting around in the shed and you haven't actually got back to, you should actually get them out and do some work on them. Things like line locomotives and stuff. Not pointing the finger at anyone, but if you do happen to have a 5-inch gauge locomotive that needs some work, probably like I do, and it's under the bench because you're busy, get out and give us an update, because we'd love to see what you're up to. Anyway, just so that you don't feel left out, here's me this weekend starting another project. It's been 15 years in the sort of the development and the thinking about, but this is what we got so far. I think it'll be a nice casting. Anyway, thanks, Nigel. All the best for you too. Can't find anyone to look at electronics on a BF20 LV milling machine. Mark, let me think about that. I may know someone. Which part of Sydney are you in? I may have a friend who can sort that out. Down that way. Will be. If I find someone, if he's keen, I might be in touch with you, Mark. It's not, yeah. Don't get him hooked on tether cars or anything stupid though, because I'm not sure I could handle that. And it's probably just as well that nobody knows that you actually chauffeur. The tether cars are actually a thing, because that'd be a big part of my life if there was a club or something here. So we're not going to ever pretend that they happen. Anyway, who else can I target individually? Stuart, we need to see that engine started, that locomotive started. We need to see some frames cut out. Dan, you're already flat stick doing stuff. I mean, you get things done, so we're not going to target you on anything. James P, you're already buying more machinery that you can't restore, so we're probably best to slow you down. Anyway, I'm out. Take care, guys. Be kind to each other, especially to me. I really appreciate your patience tonight, because I'm a bit late, or this morning, or wherever you are. And appreciate you all tuning in. It's awesome to catch up. Hope you had an amazing Christmas, and I hope that the New Year's good. And I will probably have some more updates on stuff next week. So we'll catch you. And I'm out. Thanks, guys.